Heat up your hunt with this venison summer sausage recipe.
Did you just steal my cold open? Today we brought our friend Ben Gehring back for another sausage tutorial.
Glad to be back.
Awesome. And today we're going to be making a venison summer sausage. We're going to be using our 391 jalapeno summer sausage seasoning. We're going to be doing some culture for a fermentation process, and of course, some high-temp cheddar for a little bit of creaminess. So this is a great way to use up some of that extra venison that you might have in the freezer, and it's going to make it last longer and be a real nice treat to have in the fridge. We've got some venison and pork here. Talk to us about ratios and fat content and things like that.
A good ratio that we use for venison to pork ratio is 70-30%. I like to use pork butt for my pork. It's about an 80-20% lean to fat ratio, which is a good mixture for your pork that you're adding to your very lean venison.
Yeah. Which is why we need the added fat, otherwise it would just be super dry and crumbly.
Yeah. When you go in with your venison, you can trim out all your excess sinew and tendons and stuff that you don't want in your sausage as well.
Yeah, we took off all the silver skin, all that kind of stuff that's going to make it unpalatable. We're left with our beautiful lean venison, some good fatty pork, and we're going to start grinding. And for our casings, we're going to be using fibrous casings, right? Can you tell us a little bit about these?
So with this style of casing, you want to make sure that you get a good smoke flavor in your product. So you want something that's breathable, that can absorb that smoke. I know that you can buy like a plastic casing for certain sausage product, but then you're not going to get that smoke penetration like you would with a fibrous.
I had the grinder parts all set up in the freezer for a little bit to keep them nice and cold. Same with our meat. We want to keep that nice and cold so that when we start grinding, we don't get any smearing, right? So next, what size plate do we have set up here?
We have a 3/8 plate on the grind first. Get a nice coarse grind on that meat so we don't have smearing or anything like that with our meat block. Nice and cold. Colder grind, cold meat, better product.
And then we're going to be switching to a 3/16 for the second grind, right?
For our final grind, yes.
Awesome, and then we'll be ready to season in case. So we're going to start our first grind with our 3/8 plate.
Not forcing it, let the grinder do the work. Try to mix the pork and venison together a little bit evenly. Try to keep in mind that third ratio. Probably pretty good, eh?
Yeah, you can see the particle definition between the venison and the fat from the pork. That looks super nice.
Yep.
It's still nice and cold. You can feel it. It's going to work really well. So we've got our two grinds done. It's going to be a nice coarse cut summer sausage, and we're ready to start mixing in our seasonings, our culture, and our cure. Now is the perfect time to get our casings soaking, right? So what do we want to do here?
So I'd like to pre-soak these casings before we start, just easier to handle and work with. I like to get some lukewarm water in a bowl and then get my casings and put them in before we start.
And how long? 20, 30 minutes-ish?
Yeah, at least minimum 15. I'd like to go 20 or 30. You know, about that ballpark is a good number.
And this is going to make them really pliable so that they're easy to stuff and that they'll tie off really well and hang even better, right?
Yep.
Perfect. So let's get these soaking and then we'll start seasoning.
The water. Make sure they're all submerged. There we go. Let them sit.
So the first step you like to do with your fermentation seasoning process here is getting your culture worked into the meat block.
Yep, that's the first thing I like to add. Make sure I get a nice even distribution. So I like adding it to some water, and then mixing it together, and then dumping it in my meat block. It's a very minimal amount of culture, as you can see. There's not a lot. That's why I like to mix it in water, just so we get it evenly distributed through the whole meat block.
Awesome.
So I'll dump this into our little.
Now we're using a fast culture here, so the fermentation time is going to be a lot less than maybe some other cultures that you might find.
Yes. There's different cultures out on the market, so this is a fast fermenting culture. So it's going to give a real nice tang flavor to our meat, and it ferments a lot faster than other cultures does as well.
Awesome. And to find something like this when you're culturing and doing a fermentation process,
not something you can find on your local grocery store.
Sure.
If you have a local meat market or processor, contact them, see if they have anything like that. I know we do ferment meat, so we do carry it and we do sell it in our store. If people at home want to experiment with fermenting sausage.
Awesome. And so the local butcher will probably have some dextrose or something to feed the culture as well,
Yep,
right?
Yep. So we use like a dextrose, which is not quite as sweet sugar, to put it plainly, and it helps feed the culture. So the culture is just like a good bacteria that gives the meat its flavor. You need to feed that bacteria to get the flavor. So we use dextrose in our product to get that to happen in our meat block.
And the culture also traditionally helps with lowering the pH level.
Yep. So that's where you get your tanginess. So it lowers the pH, gets a little more acidic. So that's kind of what you're looking for when you're fermenting products, is a lower pH in your product.
Which also traditionally is how you're allowed to hold summer sausage at room temperature, because you lower that pH, which lowers the potential for bacteria growth and things like that.
Yep, exactly. Lower pH, less chance for deadly pathogens and bacteria to grow. So we have our dextrose here as well. So this is weighed out for our batch as well, so we can sprinkle that in if we want. Try to sprinkle it evenly through the meat block here. Next is our jalapeno blend that we have from PS Seasoning.
We're going to shake that gently, because if that gets up in the air, we're going to be coughing for a minute
Yes,
here.
it does have jalapeno in it. So, and then mix our cure in here last. I like to put the cure in last just because the reaction for the meat process, it's nice to put that in at the end. Now to start mixing, I like to add a little bit of water to it just to help mix the mixing process. It helps kind of bind everything together a little bit, so I'll add a little bit of water in.
Adds a little bit of moisture to the product.
Yep, a little moisture to the
whole,
product,
too.
and just helps bind and get a little bit better extraction. So, also adding with the dehydrated jalapeno flakes, it's nice to add a little bit of water to rehydrate those in the product as well, just so they're a little softer bite. And like I said, we want to fold the meat over back and forth and together and get a good protein extraction out of the block. Get everything to bind together real nice and get a good even distribution of seasoning.
So now that we're almost towards our protein extraction, we're going to add some high-temp cheddar. And the reason we're doing that towards the end is we don't want that to break down too much. It tends to crumble, and we want to keep those larger pieces in throughout our meat block so it looks really nice in our final product.
All right, so we got about 1.5 pounds of cheese here. I know a lot of recommendations are 10%, but I like a little bit cheesier product, you know, being Wisconsin.
Yeah, I'm here for it, man. Let's go for it. So we're doing about a 15% inclusion with this one then, yeah.
Let's mix her in. So we did put it in the freezer so it's nice and cold. Help that meat block. And then like I said, mix her in. Fold her in.
One thing I like about this seasoning, this jalapeno seasoning, it's got the little jalapeno flakes in there. So we should be able to see that in the meat block once it's all smoked too. And it adds a really nice flavor, obviously.
Yeah, see, it's really starting to get nice and tacky.
So that protein extraction is starting to take hold. The fats and the proteins are binding to each other so that once we smoke, they hold together and they don't lose.
Won't grease out.
Yep.
Yeah, it won't lose. Yep, exactly.
So we've got our stuffer set up with our large horn, which is ideal for summer sausage, bologna, things like that. And we're about to load it up.
Yep. So make sure we get all the product in nice and tight. So there's no air pockets. And we don't have pinholes in our sausage. So get it in, press it in nice and tight.
So there can be a lot of issues if you get air into your sausage, whether it's brats, snack sticks, summer sausage. It can affect bleed out, you can have popping,
Grease pockets.
lots of different issues. So it's really important to eliminate as many of those air pockets as possible. And it all starts with the stuffing. Packing it down nice and tight, pushing it against the walls.
It's starting to come out, go slow. Come in, and then once you get to the end, take a little pressure. Oh, a little more. Our horn's loaded, ready to go.
You backed off the pressure so that we can start loading on the casings.
Yep. So grab your casing out of your water. It helps if you take a little bit of water. If you can't peel the casing apart, this one is a little bit apart. That's kind of what helps too with soaking in water. It gets that casing apart. You can put a little water in there to get it spread apart also.
Cool. Now you want to start by pulling it all the way on.
Yep, get it all the way on. Have a good firm grip. I use my thumb and pointer finger just to hold on to the casing, just to help with the pressure and kind of feel, the casing get full. So you want it to come out and not bust the casing. Kind of watch it.
Pack it nice and tight.
Yep. So I'm keeping good pressure on there. All right. Leave enough on the end so you can twist and tie.
And then as soon as you pull it off, you're just pushing down that casing so you get a nice airtight seal at the top.
I've got my grip, and I change it to where I can twist, get a nice, straight, even twist on there so we don't have any weird edges when we slice it.
Regular old butcher's twine here. We'll get a tie on here. One sausage. Feels nice and firm, feels even. We're all cased, and we're gonna be ready for our smokehouse now. The first step is getting that culture to ferment and building that flavor and working on that pH of the summer sausage.
Yeah, we want to make sure we get that fermenting, fairly quickly, because that culture and the bacteria, it starts acting. We want to make sure we have the right climate for it to do its job.
And that first fermentation cycle in our smoke process is going to run about 85 degrees. We're going to add a water pan for some added humidity, and that'll help that culture develop throughout our fermentation process. And then once that's built, we'll go right into the smoke schedule. Day 2 of our sausage making with Ben, and walk us through our smoke schedule from yesterday.
So we did about a 2-hour ferment cycle at a low temperature because we want to make sure that culture worked properly and fermented nice.
Yeah.
If it gets too high, it will kill off the culture. And then after that, we bumped it up to about 110, 120 and added our sawdust for smoke.
Okay.
And then we did about an 8-hour smoke cycle at a nice low smoke and kind of make sure that we don't get too high, and we give those cultures a lot of time to develop those tangy flavors that we're looking for.
Bring down the pH, help us with any food safety issues, right? And that adds so much flavor, so much tanginess, and beautiful, development on the meat that we want to make sure we get the time to process.
Yep. And then once we were done with our smoke, we wanted to make sure it was safe to eat. So we did bump it up to about 160 house temp. We want to get that internal temp close to 150, just to make sure we had safe to eat.
After taking the sausage out of the smokehouse, we gave it a quick rinse before we let it rest at room temperature, and then we cooled it completely in the fridge. Look at that. That's beautiful. All the beautiful high temp cheese in there. So 10% is a pretty standard inclusion rate for cheddar or for cheeses when you're doing sausage, whether it's brat, snack sticks, things like that. We went with the 15 because we wanted that real nice creaminess, added texture, added flavor to our sausage.
When you have the jalapenos like that, it's just nice for that extra kick of jalapeno.
Looks like we got some really nice particle definition in there still. You can see the peppers, got beautiful color in there. A reminder, you cannot eat this casing, so you're gonna wanna take that casing off. All right, cheers, friend.
Cheers.
Enjoy.
Yep.
It's a good summer sausage.
You get the heat from the jalapeno,
It's all there.
but that cheese helps cool it down.
Well, the venison adds a really wonderful gamey taste to it. It's a great way to use venison, if you ask me. Really complements the flavor well. But second, the texture is much different than a lot of summer sausage. It's much more tender.
Oh yeah.
And that's awesome.
Yep. Yeah, keeping that low temperature and that low smoke helps really keep that meat nice and moist and tender.
Sure.
Yeah, it's really good.
Well, I'm super happy with the way this turned out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well done.
I would do this again.
Well, Ben, I want to thank you again for coming in and showing us how to make this venison summer sausage. It's absolutely incredible. I appreciate your time and your expertise. Why don't you tell people where they can find you or your website?
Yep, so you can, we have a website, GehringsMeatMarket.com.
Perfect.
It does have our number on there and store hours and other contact information if you need it. You can call us and reach us through that.
As usual, for all the seasonings and spices seen in this video, you can check out psseasoning.com. Be sure to check us out on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And until next time, Ben, thank you again.
Thanks, Jed.
Thanks for watching.